to the notes just to go over this. So I moved the Q1 calendar. So if you ever want to go back and look at something from last 9 weeks, if it's in all the modules, you can either go to My Learning or you can go over here to modules. And there's a module for calendars. So it's right here. So y'all should be able to see Q1 here under calendars, and you can go back and look at Q1 stuff. So if you ever need to look back at that, that's there. It didn't disappear. It's still there. But I moved it from the homepage. So the homepage is now Q2. So we are halfway through the semester. We are starting Unit 4, which is triangle relationships. I didn't finish filling the whole unit in. I ran out of time this morning, but I did put in when your test is going to be. So you can see it's going to be in 2 weeks and a day. Okay, so 2 weeks from tomorrow is going to be the Unit 4 test. So it's not a super long unit. Okay, so I went ahead and put in, we've got a PD day. Y'all have November 4th off. And then I went ahead and put in the tentative test dates for the whole 9 weeks. So you can see when the Unit 5 test should be right before Thanksgiving break. And then we'll come back. And then we'll have Unit 6, because we come back and only have 3 weeks before the semester ends, and we have a week of semester exams, and we have to do semester review. Unit 6 is going to be split. Please stop talking. Thank you. Unit 6 is going to have to be split because we can't fit a whole unit in like a week, right? So we'll split it, and we'll do a 6A test for our 3rd test grade of this 9 weeks. And then when we come back in January, we'll continue Unit 6, and we'll do a Unit 6B test as the first test for that 9 week. Okay, so you've got the main test days in the calendar here, and I'll work on getting the rest of the unit filled in here. But that just gives you an idea of what we will be doing. So we're starting with classifying triangles. So that page that I handed out to you, let me copy over here real fast. These are short notes, and they're not going to take us long. I think most of you probably remember this from geometry units in intermediate. It is not complicated stuff, but we do need to make sure you know the vocab and how to do everything before I just throw you into practicing it. So I know this might seem like super easy. I hope it does. And copy this second page. Do you have a Band-Aid for the cows? I do. Give me one sec. We're not bleeding out. Okay. All right, it's all copied over. Let me save that real fast. Oh, okay. Oh, that over the 2015 tour. No. All right, back to it, guys. Let's focus. The quicker we get through this, the more time you have for your practice. And your practice today is going to look a little different. We are not using Delta Math. We are going to be doing a Canvas assignment. So there wasn't really much on Delta Math for this topic. So anyway, so let's get through this so I can show you what it's going to look like, how it's going to look different than our normal practice online has been. We got unlimited tips on Delta Math. No. All right. Equilateral, isosceles. Thank you. Okay, so classifying by sides. All of these terms should look familiar. Okay, we're referring to these side measures. Okay, equilateral means all three are equal inside. Okay, so all three congruent sides. Okay, isosceles means that two, technically it's at least two. So an isosceles, an equilateral technically is also isosceles. But isosceles means at least two equal sides, two congruent sides. Okay, and because two of the sides are equal, that also means two of the angles are going to be equal. So I'm going to mark those as well. And it would be the angles across from those sides. So two congruent angles and two congruent sides. And I will go back and mark that in the equilateral because they're all three equal sides. All three angles would be equal as well. Now, in an isosceles triangle, you can't know these measures unless something is given to you. But in an equilateral, you can. What are all three angles in an equilateral going to be? They're all going to be 60 because we know that the three angles of a triangle have to add to 180. So if these have to be equal, you just do 180 divided by 3, and those are each 60. Okay. And then scaling. Scaling is when no sides or angles are equal. So no congruent sides or angles. Everything's different. Okay. So that is classifying by side. Classifying by angles, we have some different terms, but again, none of these terms should look new to you. Okay, we've talked about right, acute, and obtuse angles. So when we talk about right, acute, and obtuse triangles, okay, we're referring to acute means that all three angles are acute. Okay, so all acute angles. When we say obtuse or right, how many obtuse or right angles do you think there will be? Only one. Okay, there's only going to be one obtuse angle in an obtuse triangle. There's only going to be one right angle in a right triangle. Because if there was two right angles, that's already 180 degrees, isn't it? So you don't even have anything left for the third angle, so it can't form a triangle. There's no way to form a triangle with two right angles. There's no way to form a triangle with two obtuse angles. Okay, so you can only have one obtuse or one right in those types of triangles. In acute, all three are acute. Equilateral is the same as equiangular. Okay, so equiangular just means all three angles are equal, which also is going to mean all three sides are equal. And I talked about, when I talked about equilateral, that means they'll all measure 60. I think I'm out, but you can run to the restroom if you need to. If that is that box empty?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, questions about classification? So if I ask you to classify a triangle, you're going to be able to tell me one of these angle classifications and side classifications. Okay, and remember, equilateral and equiangular mean the same thing. Okay, angle is referring to the angles, obviously, and lateral is referring to the sides. Lateral means side. Okay, those of you, maybe you're in biology or anatomy or something, your lats, okay, or if you work out, you're trying to get your lat muscles. Okay, those are your sides. Or if you play football, you draw a lateral pass, that's a sideways pass. Okay, it's not forwards. Lateral means side. So equilateral, equal sides, equiangular, equal angles. All right, so this is just some vocab terms to know. This is an isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, the two congruent sides are the legs. Okay, so we need to know the legs are the two congruent sides, and the base is the third side. The The two congruent angles are your base angles. And then that third angle where the congruent legs meet is called the vertex angle. Okay, so that's all labeled on there for you. You just need to make sure you know the terminology. Okay, so because if a question says what's the vertex angle and it's not marked in the picture, you have to know which angle they're asking for. Okay, or if it asks you to find the base, the length of the base, you need to know which side of the triangle that is. So far, so good? All right, let's flip it over. All right, so in this one, we're on this side, we're talking about triangle angle sum theorem. So the triangle angle sum theorem is a mouthful, but it's really easy and you all know it already. It just says that the three angles of a triangle have to add to 180 degrees. Okay, so the triangle angle sum. So that just means adding the angles of a triangle. So if we add the angles of a triangle, it equals 180. That's it. Good? Okay, so let's try and find some things here.
Corrections, but the testing's closed.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in class. Okay, so we're looking for the measure of angle T. So angle T here is labeled as X. We don't know it. This is the simplest it's going to get. If you want the third angle and you know 2, what do we do? Yeah, add the 2 that you know and subtract from 180. Some people said subtract both. That's fine. If you want to start with 180, subtract 82, and then subtract 27 from what's left, that's fine. I think it's easier to add the known side or the known angles first and then subtract, but you can do whichever method that you want. Okay, so you're going to subtract what you know from 180 to see what's left. So I'm going to add the 82 and the 27 first. And then I'm going to subtract that from 180. And what am I left with? 71, right?
Yeah.
So that angle must be 71. Now, if I were to ask you to classify this triangle, what type of triangle would you say this is? Also, it is all three angles are what? All of them are acute. So if we classify by angles, it's acute. What about if we classify by the sides? We don't know any side measures, but because we know the angle measures are all different, what do we know about the side measures? They're all different. We don't know what they are, but we know they're different. So if the angles are all different, I know that this is a what? Scalene. So if I were to ask you to classify this, you could say that this is an acute scalene triangle. All right, so that's easy enough, right? I guess I should box in or circle my answer there. 71 degrees. That's what we were looking for. Right there. All right, now, what if it's not angle measures given, it's expression? What do you think we should do? Yep, so I'm going to set those up. All three of those are going to add to 1, and I'm going to do this in this space above here where I've got more room. So I'm going to set 3x. That's a minus 17. Plus 2x minus 5 plus x plus 40. And all of that together should equal what? 180. And I'm just writing it on the left because I ran out of room on the right. You could write it to the right if you have space. It doesn't matter. Okay, now some of you are not going to write all of this out. You're going to look at your picture and you're going to say, you're going to combine your like terms here instead of writing it out like this. I don't care if you write this all out like this or if you combine your like terms in the picture first, but how many x's is that? So I've got 6x Okay, and then I'm going to combine, oops, not a crayon, a highlighter. Then I'm going to combine my constants. Okay, so I've got -17, -5, and +40. So I've got a positive what? Positive 18. I'll color code that for you. So that came from the x's, that came from the constants. Okay, so if this is the first line that you write to show your work, that's fine. If you combine these just like this, instead of writing it all out, I'm cool with that as long as you're not making mistakes. Okay, so now how do I solve? Yeah, move your constant by opposite operation. Okay, what does that leave me with? And what do I do to get rid of the coefficient? Good. Opposite operation again. This time is division. So what does that leave me with for x? Now, if it asks you to solve for x, we're done, which it did, right? It said find x. Now, if it asked you for angle measures, what would you do? You would plug it back in and you could find each of these angle measures, and then you would be able to classify this triangle, wouldn't you? Okay, so just know that you can go take that further depending on what's asked. Okay, in this number 3, those markings, you've got to know your markings. A tick mark, same number of tick marks means they're congruent, right? So what type of triangle is this if all 3 sides are congruent? So we've got an equilateral, which means it's also equiangular, right? Yep. So what does that tell me about that angle? Did I spell that right? Equiangular. I gotta look at the front, y'all. I'm not a English. Yeah, it's UIA. Okay, making sure. All right, so it's equilateral, which means it's equiangular, which means that that angle is 60. So we set up 4x plus 4 equal to 60. And solve. So move your constant by opposite operation. Move your coefficient by opposite operation. And what is x? What is x? No. What is it? 14. 14? Okay. That one was also find the value of x. So we're done. We don't have to. If they had asked for the angle, I hope you wouldn't have gone through all that work and just known that the angle is 60. Okay, so that one was just looking for x. Okay. All right, find the missing angle. Only one is given as a number, but what do we know? We know markings. Again, this is knowing what markings mean. We knew that these markings meant these were congruent. This marking means that this is 90. Now, if I have a right triangle, what do the 2 acute angles have to add to? Yes, thank you. So the 2 acute angles in a right triangle are always going to add to 90 degrees because the triangle is 180 and the right angle has taken half of that. Does that make sense? So these 2 angles have to add to 90. Okay. Could you do this by adding 70 and 90 and subtracting from 180? Yes, but it's less work just to do 90 minus 70, isn't it? So that's just 20. You can do it using the triangle sum is 180 and doing the 90 plus 70 and subtracting that, but it's less work if you realize that the 2 acute angles of a right triangle are going to add to 90. Just saves you a step. All right, 5 is base angles are 2x. The vertex angle is 80. Find x. So again, this is knowing that vocabulary on the front. If you don't know which ones are the base angles and which one's the vertex angle, you may not know how to label this triangle. So based on the tick marks on the sides, the base angles are going to be here and here because they're the angles across from those. And hang on, guys, my son's school is calling. Sorry. Hello. I know. Yeah, but are you coming to my house tomorrow? Yeah, I'm in there. Love saying it. No, just she will. Yeah, I thought that's why basically keep it on there, calm me down. Yeah. I got my blood drawn right there. See, that's how it's seriously. Oh my God. I got my blood drawn. Yeah.
This is my youngest, my 8-year-old.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. Luke's fine. That was my 8th. That was my, did any of y'all go to McWhorter? No. Yeah. He's that before. Okay. So we identified our base angles. Okay. So the base angles are 2x. And the vertex angle is where the congruent sides meet. So this is the vertex angle up here. And they told us that that one's 80. No, not to scale. Never assume your pictures are drawn to scale in geometry. Guys, I know I took a break to take that phone call, but please stop your conversations now. We're back on track. We're almost done. Let's finish it up. All right, so what are we going to do to find x? Put 4x what? Okay, now why does 4x equal 100? Some of y'all start steps ahead of others. Let's explain where that came from. Okay, so we know that the 3 angles together have to add to 180. So some of you may have started with this. 2x plus 2x plus 80 equals 180. So to get to the people who are starting at 4x equals 100 in their heads, they're just like, well, if that's 80, we've got 100 left here and here, and then that's 4 x's. Everybody good?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so then I divide out the 4. And this is 25. Now, some of you may have done that differently, like that thought process that I was just explaining, how if this is 80, that means these must be 100 together, which means they're 50 each. So then 2x is 50. Some of y'all might have gone all that the way to there and said, okay, 50 divided by 2 is 25. You got the same thing. Everybody okay with that? Okay. All right. In 6, find x. What do we know what these markings mean?
They're equal.
They're equal. So this one has nothing to do with angle measures. We're not using 180. We're just setting the side length measures equal. So then we need constants to one side. Variables to the other. So I got rid of the 4 over here, got rid of the 2x over here. That leaves me with x equals 1. Now, is there a way I could check that I did that correctly? If I plug it back in, 3 times 1 plus 4 is 7. If I plug it in here, 2 times 1 plus 5 is also 7. Were they supposed to come out equal?
Yes.
Yes, they were. Good. Do we feel okay about now, we didn't classify any but that first one here. What would this one be? Gonna be isosceles. Now, we don't assume anything. It looks acute, but we're not gonna write that because nothing about the angles is marked or given, right? So I would just say isosceles here. Okay. Now this one, now that I know the angle measures, I could classify the angles on this one. So what would this be? It is isosceles, but I can also classify by the angle measures because I know the angle measures here. That'd be 80, 50, and 50. So that one would be acute isosceles.
Wow.
This one, like I said, I am only going to say isosceles because I don't know enough information to classify it by angles. Do not assume. Things are not always drawn to scale. And we said that was equilateral, equiangular. This one, no, what's number 4? It's a right angle here, so it's a right triangle. I don't have sides labeled, but the fact that the 3 angles are different sizes, what does that tell me about the 3 sides? If sides are equal, angles are equal, right?
Yeah.
So if angles are not equal, sides are not equal, which is called a what type of triangle? Scalene. So this one would be a right scalene. All right, so now we've classified those. The only one we didn't classify was this one because we're not going to go back and plug that X in. But
Yeah.
any questions? Okay, so like I said, our practice is in Canvas because Delta Math didn't have much on this. Let me link the calendar to it.
It's like not you, but like I didn't know what else to do. Yes. All the stuff that's going
My knowledge.
Bro, I always like this, but it's so
Okay. So I don't know if I published it. Let me check. I did. Okay, now it's published. Okay, so now you can either, y'all listen please, you can either click on that link from the calendar, because I just linked it to the calendar, or you can come to the module here, and it's under the unit. Y'all, please stop talking when I'm talking. Thank you. You can either come to the module 4, and the only things here, I haven't added the notes yet. I'll add those in a minute. But you can see I put the extra credit Delta Math here for the unit already. Anybody who wants to get started on that can. And then this is today's assignment. It is not a Delta Math. And I need to change the date because today's the 15th, not the 16th. I'll fix that. Okay. But this is your assignment. So it's in Canvas. Okay. It's like we took a worksheet. Instead of giving you a worksheet, we just put all the questions in here. So it looks, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I wonder if I can do preview. Okay, so it's questions like instead of giving you a worksheet, we just copied and put them in here so that it will grade for us and it's quicker. You get quicker feedback, quicker grade. And it lets you know right away when you submit the assignment what you missed. And unlike Delta Math, the questions don't have unlimited attempts. Like it won't generate new questions if you've gotten one wrong, obviously, because we just put these in here. But I am going to set the actual assignment to multiple attempts. So you will submit the assignment. You can see what you get wrong, and then you can try the assignment again. I am not setting it to unlimited though, because that would kind of be pointless, because with multiple choice, unlimited, you would just eventually get 100, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna set it to, I think it's set to 2, or I need to, I'll check, it's 2 or 3. Does it say, it says 3? Okay, so it is set to 3 attempts, okay? So, and it should be set to a quick reattempt, which means you don't have to redo the entire assignment. It'll only have you redo the ones you got wrong. Okay, so yes, this is due tomorrow. Any questions about how to do it in Canvas?
Yeah.
Okay. Have at it.
It's gonna take